what I would like to do is, could we go through the third one, the mapping, in about 5 to 10 minutes?
Well, then let's just go straight to the fractal. This was my first attempt. And you can see that Fabiano made the 146 directions. And then you put the outside, and it's still, you can't make any sense of it. But then if you fill it in, you see it's a simple fractal pattern. And I found, here are examples, very famous fractal examples. And so I made this model here, and the dimensions, it turns out between the square root of 3, 3BB, and the square root of 2, 3BB, which that is B, which is this midpoint here, is the square root of 3, 3BB, and the center here is the square root of 2, 3BB. There's this square root of 2 and 2/3 is the distance that goes from there to there. I saw the symmetry of fractions and square root of fractions. And so that gave me the confidence that, well, this is still a little complicated. So I came up with the 98 directions, which comes from what we talked about earlier. You can see it here. This is Fabiano again doing these beautiful, Fabiano Schwabi does this incredible work. And so you see that the 50 directions of the sphere family, the 12 comes through the center, but it actually has an equivalent in the geometrical. You can go through these. I won't go through all of the, but then there's 62 directions in the bubble family that taking out that center sphere and it moves them around. And so then here there's 12, 20, and 30. But then there's 14 directions in common, because this makes 100, there's 50 and 62. So that's 112, right? But there's 14 directions that are in common that both of them share. And whatever the edge of the cube or the long axis of the square face of the VE, you multiply it times the golden ratio, and that gives you the distance here, which is the edge of the icosahedron. That's the long axis of the triicontohedron. It's just the, and then this is just going through each one of the systems showing how the different directions, but there's this burst of order that goes out, and this helps you when you're mapping, when you want to try to figure out, some kind of modular design.
Wonderful.
Then the last is the equators that we've talked about before. The Coriolis effect is true. And most geometries, they show the pieces laid on their face with no consideration, does it have an axis of spin?
Yes.
So the dodecahedron and the cube have to have little stands because their axis of spin goes through their outside corners. The other ones have a flat surface. And the reason that the equators are so important, if you're going to do some modular design, is the hexapod that I came up with, this modular wall system for the first floor. And so then you can do these dome-like situations. That the two things that NaturalModular focuses in on is reflected light. So light hits a surface, goes through a window, and then is reflected over these dome-like surfaces, so that you have this beautiful ambient light all day long that's very soft. And then you have all of these different surfaces to place solar panels, not just, we need to break out of it. I love what you said, the modular design, break it out of the tyranny of boxes. It's just, And so this just goes through the stuff that we've talked about before and how each one of these fits inside the other, the nesting doll.
Wonderful.